Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. This Zephaniah, YASHARAHLA, aka Mordecai, coming from Sith Lord Tiger School of Truth. And today's lesson, I started something new called the spiritual assassin. So these spiritual assassin lessons, I was gonna call it assassin mode. I still might tweak it. Call it a spiritual assassin for right now. Cause the brother Mahakar, he came up something. He called out this gonna be the year of the doctrine cuts. Cause that's what he's saying in the spirit. That's what I see too. Cause I got classes lined up to cut a whole rack of stuff. I just chopped up these fake prophets with this Adam had a virgin birth and Christ had a virgin birth. I give him the complete breakdown to kill that. He want to scoff against it, but when I go on the comment board, Eve even told him get some milk. She broke down telling him how Genesis talking about man, the human race, right? But then he was like, but Adam had an amount of years, then he died. Alright. So we know the Adamites is talking about the Adamites, just like we the Israelites. But it was a chosen man, Adam, out of the Adamites and Eve, like that. So he talking about I know. I know, he said I know, but Adam had a chosen amount of years till his death. So I don't know, you tell me. But you scoffing against brothers who the Most High waking up to understand this truth. But you want to be this sucker for love. You this fake gangster on video going at brothers, but in the comment board, Eve shuts you down and then now you at her feet. Talking about, I don't know, you tell me. Now you looking for edification for Eve. I screenshotted that. Cause this Negro ever fake like he do something foul coming for me, I got you, Jack. I'ma expose you. I ain't with calling brothers names and until it get to a certain point where you just super wicked, man. You know what I mean? It's gonna come a time though. It's gonna come a time where I'm gonna start just calling out whoever, man. You know what I mean? If I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Like I said, my email lordpayne.ep@gmail.com. I ain't ducking no wreck. I study too hard like a champion. I ain't ducking none of this stuff, man. You know what I mean? You know? And I heard, I was looking at the class before I got to do this, seeing the elder. He about to bring out, because FOPE already brought it out, about the cake not turn doctrine. Where they trying to equate that to skin color. That's not what that breakdown give you. It's talking about being wicked, basically, in a nutshell. So the elder about to do that class, and in the midst of that, he said, even like Peter. It ain't talking about Peter walking on the sea. He was going to teach the people. Already got that class put together. It's called Men Don't Have Magical Powers in Terrestrial Bodies. You know what I mean? That's going to be on my assassin mode list. I got Jones coming right now. This Jones called The Burden of the Brother. Because that same brother, he talking about, this was about a week or two ago, a couple weeks back. They was giving that breakdown about Silas and all that. And when Silas and them said, we ain't gonna put no other burdens on you. So now we're in the comment board about telling them, so it's a burden to keep the Sabbath and feast days, this, that, and the third. He talking about, you Negroes always casting burdens on Israel. And this little sidekick talking about work out your own salvation. So I'm about to cut that right now. Like I said, this is the spiritual assassin, man. YASHARAHLA, man. You know what I mean? I'm coming. Anything false in Israel, I'm coming. I don't care about no platform, no likes and subscribers. This my will to do and my life to do. I got the understanding to do it. I'ma do it. I ain't spending all these hours reading and studying books. And I just got all these books for one class, man. Come on, man. I ain't playing out here. Negroes fake studying, man. I wanna hear that mess. Instead of humbling down and learning something, just wanna run their mouth, man. So this called the spiritual assassin right here. First, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh, the God who created the heavens and the earth. God who created everything you see, the God you should fear. The God I understand why he mad at us. I'm fighting till death to get back in good favor with him, for my kids, for my family. You know what I mean? And this is my will and my life to do. I'ma keep pushing. Like I keep saying, ain't nothing but death gonna take me out of this truth. I don't care. Ain't none of you wicked Negroes gonna disturb me or none of that. I'ma keep chopping y'all up. Like I keep saying. This shirt right here, this is the first shirt I had when I came in the truth. I bought from 1-1 Fashion. My first shirt, man, I had in the truth. I still got this junk, man. This keep me hungry in the truth when I put this junk on. You know what I mean? Getting better, getting wise in this truth. Just trying to keep growing. You know what I mean? What else? So that's what it is. It's the year the doctorate cuts, like my brother said. This is my first episode, The Assassin, man. So we about to get into it. Books we getting into: King James Bible, King James Apocrypha. So this assassin junk, this can be whatever. This can be a class. It can be a little small breakdown, whatever. This me when I'm going in straight, just cutting something up. You know what I mean? Like I'm about to do right now. So this brother talking about niggas always casting burdens on Israel. You know what I mean? Saying that. Niggas always casting burdens on Israel. I gotta get my head done. I supposed to went up to the classroom today, but unfortunately, I ain't get up there. There been some work and transitioning going on up there as far as work and stuff like that. So I ain't been teaching up there the last couple weeks and stuff. Stuff just been a struggle, you know what I mean? But I keep doing stuff to keep me in the spirit, you know what I mean? So I don't get discouraged or nothing, and just keep battling in this truth. That's what I do, you know what I mean? I'ma keep battling this truth. Keep battling this truth. So, it look like a fireball on top of my head. So, this class right here called, this is my first assassin jump. It's called Acts. It's called Acts chapter 15. Burdens on Israel breakdown right here. So I'm about to go on to that. About to go on to it. Alright, I ain't tear the pages out. So, first scripture. Let's go to Acts. Acts chapter 15, verse 1. Cause I just did a joke yesterday about you gotta teach precept among precept, man. You can't just pull a scripture and then try to expound on that one scripture and make that be the whole context of that chapter. It's just not gonna work like that, man. It's just not. Let's go to Acts chapter 15. Acts chapter 15 verse 1. And certain men which came down from Judea taught the brethren, and said, except ye be circumcised after the manner of Moses, ye cannot be saved. So, before I do that, okay, let me get an understanding of what's going on. Alright. So Silas told him in Acts 15 and 29, for it seemed good to the Holy Ghost and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary things, that ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if ye keep yourselves, ye shall do well, farewell. So, let me go back. Right. For it seemed good to the Holy Ghost and to lay, and to us, to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary things, that ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if ye keep yourselves, ye shall do well, farewell. So, he thinking they just saying, long as you don't eat, sacrifice to idols, and it say that ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication. What kind of fornication? Spiritual fornication against the Most High. So that means doing anything that's against the truth, the scriptures, and serving the Most High. So his little sidekick said, work out your salvation. I'm going to put that in there too. What Silas just told them, that cover all the commandments, man. If you not eating meats offered to idols, and you not committing spiritual fornication, what you doing? You keeping your commandments. You keeping your commandments, your customs, everything. You know what I mean? You keeping everything. You keeping all your customs. That's what you doing. So now let's go to the breakdown. And then I might, if I got enough time, I'm gonna give a little snippet of my men don't have magical powers in terrestrial bodies class. I'm gonna go into what the elder was talking about Peter and all that. I got the whole breakdown. I did a whole masterful class I put together on that. Acts chapter 15 verse 1. And certain men which came down from Judea taught the brethren and said, except ye be circumcised after the manner of Moses, ye cannot be saved. Let's go to Leviticus 17. Book of Leviticus chapter 17 verse 9 through 14. And bringeth it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation to offer it unto the Lord, even that man shall be cut off from among his people. Verse 10. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your sins. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. Jump down to 14. Let's go to verse 12. Therefore I said unto you, the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl, and may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof, and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh, the blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of the flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth shall be cut off. That's verse 14. Let's go to Exodus 6 and 30. Book of Exodus chapter 6 and 30. It say, and Moses said before the Lord, behold, I am of uncircumcised lips, and how shall Pharaoh hearken unto me? So he said, he is, 6 and 30. And Moses said before the Lord, behold, I am of uncircumcised lips, and how shall Pharaoh hearken unto me? Alright, so now, that's what Acts 15 and 1 was saying about being circumcised after the law of Moses, right? Let's go to Acts 15. Now we about to dive in. Acts chapter 15. Chapter 15, verse 28. For it seemed good to the Holy Ghost and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary things, that ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if ye keep yourselves, ye should do well, farewell. So all I was telling the brothers to keep the commandments, man, feast days and all that. And it tried to act like it was something really wrong with that. You know what I mean? Let's go to Exodus 29. Exodus 29, verse 1. And this is the thing that thou shalt not do unto them to hallow them to minister unto me in the priest's office. Take one young bullock and 2 rams without blemish. Jump down to 10. And thou shalt cause a bullock to be brought before the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the bullock. Let's go to Leviticus 17. Leviticus chapter 17, verse 13. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour off the blood thereof and cover it with dust. Let me go back to Exodus. See where I made a mistake at. Let's go to Exodus 29. I knew something was off. Exodus 29. Okay. Start at 1. And this is the thing that thou shalt do unto them to hallow them, to minister unto me in the priest's office. Take one young bullock and 2 rams without blemish. Verse 10. And thou shalt cause a bullock to be brought before the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the bullock. Verse 11. And thou shalt kill the bullock before the Lord by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And thou shalt take of the blood of the bullock and put it upon the horns of the altar with thy finger, and pour all the blood beside the bottom of the altar. Verse 14. But the flesh of the bullock and his skin and his dung shalt thou burn with fire without the camp. It is a sin offering. Verse 16. And thou shalt slay the ram, and thou shalt take his blood and sprinkle it round about upon the altar. Right? Let's go to Leviticus. Because a lot of these heathens and all that, they like blood, raw meat, and all this stuff. The Most High tell us don't deal with that stuff. So that's what Silas was telling them. Stay away basically from the customs of the heathen. Leviticus 17, verse 13. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh. The blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of the flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off. Verse 11. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. So that's why Silas told them to stay away from blood. When Silas told them stay away from blood, that's what he was talking about. Alright. So we got that part out of the way. Silas telling them stay away from the blood. That's why he telling them keep away from the blood. Okay. Now let's go dive deep into the breakdown. Let's hit on the other points. Acts chapter 15, verse 28. For it seemed good to the Holy Ghost and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary things, that ye abstain from meats offered to idols, meaning wicked customs. Because any wicked custom, what you do? You have a feast. And from blood, I just broke down about the blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, serving other gods. For which if ye keep yourselves, ye should do well, fare well. So let's get it on. Let's break it down. If you eat meats off of the idols, that means you keeping customs from other nations, and from blood, eating blood, raw meats and all that, and killing your people in any form of fashion. On a deeper level, talking about blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if ye keep yourselves, ye will do well, fare well. So, me telling them about the feast days and all that, congregating, I didn't say nothing wrong. This brother act like I was saying something wrong about that. He ain't got no understanding. Talking about niggas always casting burdens on Israel. Because he started off talking about, he had FOPE on. And before they got on their topic, he started talking about, these Negroes keeping the Sabbath and all that. How they know when to keep the Sabbath? Come on now. The Most High said, we going to make supplication to him in the land of our captivity. So what that mean? We going to be keeping feast days and all that once we wake up. Silas was telling them basically, if you keep the laws in so many words, you're going to be fine. I'm going to get into why. He told them ain't no other burdens. If you just do that, ain't no other burdens on you. So I'm going to get into that and break down why Silas said that to him. Just keeping it basic with him, and they went about their way. And we gonna get into it why he told them that. Acts chapter 15 verse 22. It say, then pleased it the apostles and the elders with the whole church to send chosen men of their own company to Antioch with Paul and Barnabas, namely Judas, surnamed Barsabas, and Silas, chief men among the brethren. So let's see why they sent their own men to go teach the brethren. Let's see why. Verse 5. But there rose up certain of the sect of the Pharisees which believed, saying that it was needful to circumcise them and to command them to keep the law of Moses. But this the scribes and the Pharisees saying, keep the law, the being pressed to tell them to keep the law of Moses. And Silas said the same thing. Let's go to 24. For as much as we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you with words subverting your souls, saying, ye must be circumcised and keep the law, to whom we gave no such commandment. So the reason why Silas told them peoples in Acts 15, chapter 15, 28, 29, just gave them something basic and told them you do that because the scribes and the Pharisees was being pressed. They want to be politically correct. They want to be over righteous. They want, you know what I mean, had the best garments, the flashiest clothes, like the pastors of the day. So the apostle said, for as much as we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you with words subverting your souls, saying, ye must be circumcised and keep the law, to whom we gave no such commandment. They not part of the apostles. So the apostles telling them, man, y'all ain't got to follow them. This what we going to get into it some more. This why the apostles sent the letter out telling them about the scribes and the Pharisees pressing them to keep the law of Moses, and they saying we ain't getting no such commandment. This the reason why. Let's go to Matthew. See, brothers will read that and thinking you ain't got to worry about the Sabbath and the feast days and all that, cause Silas and them said we ain't gave no such commandment about the law of Moses and all that. This the reason why they saying they ain't gave no such commandment. See, when you teach, you gotta go precept among precept to get the understanding. One precept is not gonna give you the understanding of the Bible. That's why you got everybody running around thinking they know the scriptures, but they don't. Because they've been learning from Pastor Porkchop and them. Pastor Porkchop and them don't know no scriptures. Man, I cut Pastor Porkchop head off with this truth. These people's deceiving our people. That's why our people's left the church and with the Islam and the Mormon, Moor Science Temple, Buddha, Hinduism, Egyptology, atheism, Scientology, Baptist, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah Wickedness. That's why, because of Pastor Porkchop with this false doctrine. Go to Matthew. They corrupted the scriptures because they ain't had no understanding. They doing will of the so-called white man to lead our people astray. What a shepherd, what a bad shepherd do? They got sheep and all that. If he ain't watching his flock, what's gonna happen? A wolf gonna come in and snatch one of them. He might kill a raccoon, a pack of wolves. You know what I mean? Because he ain't keeping care of his flock. You know what I mean? He just letting them just go and stray away and do what they want and not keeping them in the fold. That's the same thing Pastor Porkchop and them doing. So now let's get the real understanding why. Let's go back to Acts and see why Silas and them said what they said. See, brothers will read that. So when I told the brother about the feast days and all that, he got offended and all that, and then go talking about niggas always casting birds on Israel. Because they read this one scripture and think it's something. He said, this Acts 15 and 24. For as much as we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you with words, subverting your souls, saying, ye must be circumcised and keep the law, to whom we gave no such commandment. So now let's see why he's saying, these people that's saying you gotta keep the law, we ain't getting no such commandment. Let's see why. Matthew chapter 23, verse 1. Then spake Jesus, whose real name is Yahushua. Then spake Yahushua Hamashiach to the multitude, to the disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. Whoever which one of them tell you to do something and they doing it righteously, do it, follow. But do not ye after they works, for they say and do not, but they don't do it. But they don't do it. It say, all therefore whatsoever they bid you observe. Research the scriptures, meditate on it, that observe and do. But do not ye after they works, for they say and do not. Verse 4. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders. So let's go back. Let's read it out. But they themselves will not move them with one of their finger, but all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their plateries, and enlarge the borders of their garments, and love the uppermost rooms at the feast, and the chief seats in the synagogues. Man, these peoples was uppity, man. Over righteous and uppity. The scriptures tell you, be ye not over righteous. Be there, what it say? No, be there no more over righteous. Something to that effect. So, let's jump back down. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders. Let's see that now. Let's read it back and see why Silas and them said what he said. Acts chapter 15 verse 28 and 29. For it seemed good to the Holy Ghost and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary things, that ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, and from which ye keep yourselves, ye should do well, fare well. He said, we gonna lay upon you no greater burden. Let's go back. Matthew chapter 23, verse 3. All that, verse 2, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. They want to be Moses. And therefore, whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. But do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. For they bind heavy burdens grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders. So that's why Silas said, for it seemed good to the Holy Ghost and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary things, that ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if ye keep yourselves, ye should do well, farewell. They just was basically saying, don't be like the scribes and the Pharisees. We ain't telling y'all to be like that. But was they telling them don't keep the law literally? No. Let's go to Baruch 4:6. And prove that Acts 15:28-29 is basically covering all the laws, man. The book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved God to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils, and not to God Yahweh. That's why Silas was telling them, abstain from meats offered, sacrificed to idols, devils, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if ye keep yourselves, ye should do well, farewell. Because you wasn't keeping your own customs, man. What's our customs? The laws, our feast days, the Sabbath, and all that. This Negro talking about how brothers know when to keep the Sabbath. And they're going to try to go by Acts chapter 15 and 28 and 29. Man, you Negroes ain't got no understanding, man. I'm coming for your heads now, man. I don't care who you is. I'm getting tired of it. I don't care who you is, how long you been in the truth. I'm coming for heads, man. Let's go back to Acts chapter 15, verse 35. To prove. So, let's go back to 24. For as much as we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you with words subverting your souls, saying, ye must be circumcised and keep the law of Moses, to whom we gave no such commandment. So, and then they go to Acts 28 and 29, chapter 15, and thinking it's basically saying, you ain't gotta keep the laws, the feast days, and the Sabbath and all that. This don't eat blood and sacrifice the idols. 35. Paul also and Barnabas continued in Antioch, teaching and preaching the word of the Lord, with many others also. So they was teaching the laws. That's what I mean. It's levels to understanding the scripts. They weren't telling them don't keep the laws. This whole context of Acts chapter 15 is don't be like the scribes and Pharisees. Dumb. Let's go to Acts chapter 16. Let's prove it. They was teaching the laws. They was telling the people out there, down he said, I ain't gonna put no other burden on you. But I just broke down what that burden was talking about. Acts chapter 16 verse 4. And as they went through the cities, they delivered them the decrees. They delivered them the laws. Nah, they just was going from city to city saying, just don't sacrifice the idols and eat blood. You ain't got to keep the Sabbath or gather with your people or keep the feast days. And as they went through the cities, they delivered them the decrees for to keep. No, they gave them decrees not to keep it. They just was telling them the scriptures. They just was saying, you know, just read the book, but you ain't got to do nothing. You can just sit in the house with your hat turned cocked to the side, leaning, teaching with your head covered. Deliver them the decrees for to keep that were ordained of the apostles and elders, which were at Jerusalem. Verse 5. And so were the churches established in the faith and increased in number daily. Come on, man. We ain't never stopped keeping our customs. We ain't never got a pass not to keep our customs. Dumb. The Sabbath. That's why we in trouble now. We supposed to wear fringes, keep the feast days and the Sabbath. All men supposed to appear before the Lord the 3 main feast days. And keep the Sabbath. You can't get around that. I'm coming. Like I said, I'm coming for heads, man. Y'all teaching that false stuff. Lucky I couldn't do my class today about men don't have magical powers in terrestrial bodies. I supposed to been did it for 2 weeks now. I'm coming for you brothers teaching fairy tales and teaching all this off stuff. I'm going to make a diligent search to come decapitate your head off, man. I'm coming. Alright, so this little sidekick talking about work out your own salvation. This going with that, because when I commented on the Acts when he pulled them 2 scriptures, about niggas casting burdens on Israel in the comment board and put them 2 scriptures in the comment board, right? Now we about to go to do you supposed to be your brother's keeper on that? Do you supposed to inform your brother, encourage your brother, inform your brother to keep the feast days? Because this little sidekick, this medicated Negro, talking about work out your own salvation. Talking about, so you go to Jerusalem 3 times a year. When I gave a breakdown about that already, I ain't even got to do that no more. Come on, man. It say, in the land of our captivity, we gonna give the Most High supplication. So you ain't got to go to Jerusalem. That city gone. It's flat and the land still there. That's all it is. And them devils done defiled it and ran it down. So who want to go over there and do anything? Niggas don't think. Let's go to Philippians. See, I go all over this Bible on your behind. You want to keep the run in your mouth, I'm gonna make sure you ain't got nowhere to run to when I get on. Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. That at the time ye were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope, and without God in the world. Let's go to verse 1. And you have quickened who were dead in trespass and sins, were in times past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. Let's go to verse 3. Among you also we have our conversation in times past in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. Verse 4. But God, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us. So, our people disobedient, man. The children of disobedience. So, ain't nothing wrong with trying to get your brother in line. Let's go to Sirach chapter 4. Book of Sirach chapter 4. Verse 7. Get thyself the love of the congregation, and bow thy head to a great man. Nah, don't get no love from the congregation. This being the children of disobedience and the children of wrath. Because that's what you is. You causing confusion, because you ain't got no understanding. You need more milk. You want to be this great wise man eating meat, but you ain't got no teeth. You still a baby. Read it again. Get thyself the love of the congregation, and bow thy head to a great man. Sirach chapter 6, verse 37. This is what you need to do. Let thy mind be upon the ordinances. Verse 36. And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. Man, grab hold of that brother and learn all you can learn from him. When you see somebody wise, don't scoff against them. Niggas always casting burdens on Israel. Oh, so you go to Jerusalem 3 times a year. Work out your own salvation. Brothers ain't got no understanding, man. You getting your head chopped off right now, though. Let's go to Matthew 22. Book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 36. Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Yahushua said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and of all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first great commandment. 39. And the Lord is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So, let's see what law. He said hang all the law and the prophets. Let's see the law about dealing with your brother. Go to Galatians. Galatians chapter 6. Galatians chapter 6, verse 1. Hold on, let me get it. Alright, Galatians chapter 6, verse 1. He said, work out your own salvation, right? Work out your own salvation mean when all else fails, work out your own salvation. It don't mean I can't tell you to keep the Sabbath and the feast days. It don't say that. Ephesians chapter Galatians chapter 6 verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken, let me turn it down so we can make sure the babies get milk, get their understanding. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such and one in the spirit of meekness. So, if you overtaken in a fault, what's that? You thinking you ain't got to keep the Sabbath. You ain't got to keep the feast days. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, you go to Jerusalem 3 times a year. Niggas always, and these niggas, how they know when to keep the Sabbath? They be perverting the truth. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, ye which have real understanding, restore such and one in the spirit of meekness. I was like, look, brother, and give you the precepts and all that. That shouldn't be all this backlash. Considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Lest thou also get clipped up by that stumbling block, and I can't see. It say, considering thyself. Verse 2. Bear ye one another's burden. Oh, you niggas always casting burdens on Israel. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. What was the law of Christ? That is read in Matthew 22. Love your brother with all that, your heart. You know what I mean? Love your brother as thyself. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. So if you thinking you ain't you got it all, you this and that, I ain't got to put no work in correcting my brother or trying to help my brother get on the right track. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone. Nah. Work out your own salvation. Then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another. For every man shall bear his own burden at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It just telling you right there that don't start thinking about yourself until you put in work helping your brothers. That's the mystery. This parable of the burden of the brother talking about. You let a Negro like him tell it. Niggas always casting burdens on Israel. Work out your own salvation. Let's read it over again. It say, brethren, if a man be overtaken, this Galatians chapter 6 verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself. Nah, every man for theyself. I ain't got to worry about him. Let that nigga, he making mistakes, that's on him. Work out your own salvation. Considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Lest you also fall on a stumbling block. Be ye one another's burden. What that just say? Be ye one another's burden. So, I'm supposed to tell you to keep the Sabbath, dum-dum, and the feast days without you coming back trying to throw up Acts 15 and 28 and 29. Acts chapter 15 is basically telling you, don't be like the scribes and the Pharisees. And work out your own salvation mean when all else fail, work out your own salvation. Let's go. Bear ye one another's burden. Now I'm going to sit by myself and let men stumble and don't say nothing. Bear ye one another's burden. Oh, you niggas keep casting burdens on Israel. Be ye one another's burden. Man, you Negroes ain't got no understanding, man. Keep trying to teach somebody when you don't know what you talking about yourself. And so fulfill the law of Yahushua. For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. But basically, you think you all up on this pedestal, you ain't got to come down and help your brother. Be a burden to help you put in work and it's time and energy to get your brother on the right track. But, verse 4, but let every man prove his own work. Let you prove you care about your nation. And then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone. Then it ain't no big deal to sit back and deal with yourself and worry about yourself sometime. And not in another. For every man shall bear his own burden. At the end of the day, every man gonna bear his own burden. But it's telling you, before you start just worrying about thinking about yourself being selfish, put in some work and help your brothers out who ain't got no understanding. Brothers that's talking about niggas always casting burdens on Israel and his little medicated sidekick. Oh, work out your own salvation. Saying dumb stuff. You going to Jerusalem 3 times a year. When in 1 Kings, was it 8:47, telling us in the land of our captivity, we gonna make supplication to the Most High. We're in poverty. How you gonna go over Jerusalem 3 times a year without breaking your bank every year? That's dumb. Any Negroes out there teaching that, man, you was dumb, man. All this flea doctrine, where you gonna run to when the so-called white man, what it say? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, dum-dum. I seen brothers over there in Jerusalem thinking they was about to go to that Wailing Wall with their garments and on, their war belts on and all that. And the security just came, these little frail Edomites, they looking all big and burly. And these little frail looking Edomites came and shut their whole little plane down. That's all I had to see. Basically, I don't care what you Negroes think y'all know and what y'all got on. Y'all ain't coming in here with that Israelite mess. That's what them devils, that's what they basically did. So I'm not focusing on going to Jerusalem 3 times a year. It's not mandatory. That's not mandatory to do. You don't have to do that. The Most High said we gonna make supplication in the land of our captivity. In America. We waking up, everybody waking up now and keeping feast days, the Sabbath. You know what I mean? Wearing fringes and serving the Most High. So it ain't no need to do that. So what I said, alright. So the elder said Peter wasn't walking on the sea. He was right. I got a snippet from my class. Where is that? Let's get into it. This just a snippet right here. This is a snippet of the class. Matthew chapter 8. Matthew chapter 8, verse 23. And when he, let's see if this is it. This is calm the sea jump right here. Let me go to the other breakdown. To Matthew 14 about Peter. See, I got a whole class breaking down about the disciples, about Peter. Did he walk on the water with Christ? Did Christ feed 5,000? About the ship, the fish and the bread, about the ship, about everything. It's a full breakdown about Moses with the rod. Did he split the Red Sea? Joshua. It's a full class, man, killing all them lies. All right, here you go. Here we go. This is the breakdown. This is the breakdown right here. Jesus walks on the sea, right? Matthew chapter 14, verse 22. And straightway Yahushua constrained his disciples to get into a ship. That ship talking about leadership. It's not talking about the ship, talking about leadership. I'm about to prove it real quick. I got the precepts to prove what that ship means. Alright. Let's prove that it's talking about leadership. Alright, so just like you got championship, sportsmanship, leadership, let's get into it. This is the definition for ship. It say, as a termination denotes a state of office, as in lordship. Let's prove it. That definition out the 1828 Webster is accurate. Let's go to Mark 10 and 42. Mark chapter 10, verse 42. And whosoever shall offend, hold on. Mark chapter 10, verse 42. But Yahushua called them to him and said unto them, ye know that ye which are counted to rule over the Gentiles exercise lordship. That's Mark 10 and 42. Ye know that they which are accounted to rule over the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and their great ones exercise authority upon them. Now let's get another precept to prove. Hold on. Go back there, but I'm almost finished. To prove that's what it's talking about. 2 Corinthians 2 Corinthians 11. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 24. Of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. This Paul. Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. No, he actually suffered a shipwreck. And thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and day I have been in the deep. So he was a whole day and a whole night after the shipwreck. He was the whole day and a night at the bottom of the ocean like this. Come on, man. It say, thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day have I been in the deep. His leadership got wrecked. He got stoned and got beaten and all that. And he was one of the disciples. He's saying his leadership got wrecked. His lordship was a wreck. So that's what that ship means. Now let's go back to it. Ship talking about rulership, lordship. The ship ain't talking about that regular ship. Let's get into it. Matthew. Matthew 14, verse 26. No. Yeah, Matthew, verse 26. And when the disciple, hold on. Matthew chapter 14, verse 26. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit, and they cried out with fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. Verse 28. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. Verse 29. And he said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked out of the water to go to Jesus. Verse 30. But when he saw the wind boisterous, the people boisterous, he was afraid and beginning to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. Let's get it. So, they was babies in the truth at that point. And they was scared the people was getting all boisterous and all that. Let's prove it. Let's go to Job. That's a spirit right on it. Job chapter 6. Chapter 6, verse 24. Teach me, and I will hold my tongue. Cause me to understand wherein I have erred. How forcible are right words, but what do your arguing reprove? That's why he's talking about the boisterous wind. Verse 26. Do ye imagine to reprove words and the speeches of one that is desperate, which are as the wind? Let's go back. Verse 30. Matthew chapter 14, verse 30. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. Job chapter 6, verse 26. Do ye imagine to reprove words and the speeches of one that is desperate, which are as wind? Let's talk about people. Let's go back. Verse 30 again. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid and beginning to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. Was he really sinking? Let's see what that sink means. Psalms chapter 69. You gotta break these scriptures down. So that wind was people getting boisterous like they be doing now when the brothers teaching. They was babies, they was scared. And he said he was starting to sink. Let's see what that means. Psalms 69. Psalm 69 and 1. Save me, O God, for the waters are come in unto my soul. I sink in deep miry, there where there is no standing. I am come into deep waters where the floods overflow me. Come on, man. Let's go back. Matthew chapter 14, verse 30. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid and beginning to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. Psalm 69 and 2. I sink in deep miry where there is no standing. I am coming to deep waters where the floods overflow me. Come on, man. It's talking about people. Let's prove it. Let's go to Psalms 69 and 14. Deliver me out of the miry, and let me not sink. Let me be delivered from them that hate me, and out of deep waters. Come on, man. No, that was Peter was starting to sink. He ain't had faith that he can walk on water, and he started sinking. Come on, man. Let's go back to Matthew chapter 14, verse 30. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid and beginning to sink, and cried, saying, Lord, save me. Psalms 69 and 1. Save me, O God, for the waters are come in unto my soul. These doctrines. I sink in deep miry, where there is no standing. I am come into deep waters, where the floods overflow me. The people getting deep on them. Verse 14. Deliver me out of the miry, and let me not sink. Let me be delivered from them that hate me, and out of the deep waters. Matthew chapter 14, verse 30. But when he saw the wind, the people boisterous, he was afraid and beginning to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. Why he was saying that? Deliver me out of the miry, and let me not sink. Let me be delivered from them that hate me. They was teaching in the midst of a rock of hateful people. The disciples was babies, because he didn't even appoint the disciples till in Luke. Deeper on from Matthew, then he appointed 12. Yahushua was bringing them up at this point. Let's go to verse 31. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou little of faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Let's see what that's talking about. Psalms 144 and verse 7. Send thy hand from above, rid me and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of strange children. Let's go back. Matthew chapter 14, verse 31. And immediately, verse 30. But when he saw the wind, the people boisterous, they was doing what they do now, ready to fight and all that. he was afraid. They was babies in the truth. And beginning to sink. He was getting discouraged. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. Verse 31. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Verse 144:7. Send thy hand from above, rid me and deliver me out of great waters from the hand of strange children. He was asking for help, man, and understanding from Christ how to deal with this crowd. Verse 30, Matthew chapter 14, verse 32. And when they were come into the ship, the wind ceased. Then they were in the ship, came and worshipped him, saying, Of a truth, thou art the Son of God. The disciples was leaders too. They was babies in the truth though. All of them was lords, lordship. Ship mean lordship. Matthew chapter 14 verse 30. But when he saw the wind, the people boisterous, he was afraid and beginning to sink. His confidence was leaving him. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. Verse 31. And immediately Yahushua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Wherefore thou doubt that I was going to chop these people up with the scriptures and get them some real understanding? Because Christ knew precepts. He was deep in the truth. And when they were come into the leadership, the wind ceased. The people ceased. All that, when Christ came on the scene and got to cutting their butt up with the scriptures, they calmed down because he was all still, putting them in check, basically what he was doing. Come on, man. Then that's just a snippet of the class. And on that note, Shalom, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Greetings. Stick together, y'all. And you brothers need to study more, man.